about this committee, knowing fully well that there are some little changes in the leadership recently by virtue of the former chairman being elevated to the position of deputy chief whip. First is to again express my gratitude to the leadership of the National Assembly for finding me worthy to chairman this very important committee, and also extend heartfelt appreciation to the immediate past chairman for laying very good foundation, commendable service that he gave to this committee. It's my sincere intention not to disappoint and to try everything that we need to do, not to disappoint on this, this confidence that's reposed on us. Our work plan and all that we are going to do, it can be divided into about 3 or 4 places. One is about the national plan. We need to continuously monitor about that, because that is the very important part of the job that we need to do. The 2021-2025 national plan is about ending now. The issue now is that what are the plans that we have as a nation for a successful plan for this. The budget for 2025 is rolling on already. Assumptions were made for this budget. How far have we gone with these assumptions? And how far do they affect the budget that we have prepared? These are some of the questions, these are some of the issues that we are going to be interrogating as we go. We have responsibility to oversight the agencies and ministries assigned to us. Ministry of Budget and Planning, the Budget Office, Bureau of Statistics, which is one of the things we are doing today, NISAL, and all of that. We will continuously find, engaging some of these committees as we go on. Center for Management Development. We will particularly be interested, arising from the last budget, on overseas development assistance that are being managed within the Ministry of Budget, and how this is done, and of course budget performance. There are a lot of referrals that were made to this committee in the past, and some are even being made now. There is one that affects CMD, there is one that affects service-wide votes, and a couple of others. We'll also be looking at this. Of course, by virtue of the name, National Planning and Economic Development, we should naturally be interested in how well our economy is performing, even if it's tangentially. I think that we will be talking about that too as we go. But talking about the economy, you also permit me to just say 1 or 2 things about some of the things that that we see concerning that. I think in all, there seems to be a majority opinion that this government has taken very bold steps and have pursued market-driven reforms that is beginning to yield positive numbers. The nation's capital market has surged significantly by about 100% increase in the last 2 years, while the central bank has recorded the highest level of external reserves in over 3 years, and also reported to have recorded profit of about 38.8 billion, a remarkable turnaround from the 1.15 trillion loss last year in 2023. In all, the economy is getting stabilized and confidence is being restored. But as the central bank will be going into another MPC, monetary policy meeting early next week, it is important that the high interest rate aimed at curbing inflation have had significant unintended consequences on growth, particularly in manufacturing, agri, and SME sectors, which are significant employers of labor. The MPR has been raised 10 times since January 2023, currently standing at 27.5% from 16.5% in 2023, with the aim of curbing demand pull inflation. However, it will appear that the effectiveness of this policy has been undermined by structural bottlenecks, supply chain inefficiencies, and some other challenges that we have as in our economy. It is therefore our view that considering the current economic landscape, the monetary authorities, as they meet next week, should consider a more accommodative stance that promotes growth and employment generation. I think the bottom line of this is that we all know that increasing rates, it's a common phenomenon to curb inflation, but this should not be done at the expense of growth and employment. And we think that having raised interest rate 10 times consecutively every quarter since 2022 or thereabout, I think the CBN and the MPC, as they meet next week, should consider a more accommodating role that can promote growth and promote employment. Now to Bureau of Statistics. The Bureau, we all know, and I want to read from Section 6 of the Statistics Act of 2007. The Bureau shall have the main national agency responsible for development and management of official statistics, the authoritative source and custodian of official statistics in the country. And part of the role again is to collect, compile, analyze, interpret, and publish, disseminate statistical information alone and in collaboration with other agencies, and to develop and maintain comprehensive national data bank by encouraging units of line ministries and agencies to develop their sectional data bank and forward to the Bureau. And I think it's also important that the national data bank, I think the essence of these field lines that I've mentioned is that this Bureau is very important to our national development, to our national plan, and to our aspiration. Everything is about statistics and about data, either in the public sector or in the private sector. It is therefore a very, very important section of our economy. And therefore, as a house and as a committee, we are interested in ensuring that confidence in the Bureau, which is not lacking, is continue to be increasing. So the essence of the engagement this afternoon is for the Bureau to further convince us that the numbers and the figures that is coming from the Bureau are what we can beat our chest as a committee, as a member as a committee, to say that the sources and the rationale and the thinking are good enough. Particularly in the last couple of weeks, there have been so much about rebasing and all of that. And of course, a lot of concerns and issues around that. So we would like to hear from the Bureau. How far have this gone? What are the essence of this? What are the rationale behind this? And all other things that the Bureau finds important for us to be aware of. Like I said, at the end of the day, we want to be able to be sure that we have a strong Bureau of Statistics that is churning out figures that the whole world can be proud of. And of course, Nigerians can even be more proud of.
By the Statistics Act of 2007. The Honorable Chairman just told us the Section 6 of our Act that mandated us to produce this data. I wish to thank the committee for the invitation extended to us at the National Bureau of Statistics to be here today. And I would like to state that the Bureau is ever committed, as usual, to delivering on our mandate on the production of official statistics for the country, to aid national planning, to aid policy making, and for the monitoring of programs and projects of government at all levels. In particular, we are committed to providing the necessary statistical information to support the important work of this committee. As Mr. Chairman just rolled out some benchmark figures for implementation of our budget and for the national development plan that we have in place for the country, we would like to ensure that the noble objectives of the oversight function of this committee are achieved for the benefit of our dear country. Mr. Chairman, honorable members, as you all know, our work at the National Bureau of Statistics is to produce statistics on all facets of our economy, is to produce those economic data and indeed data on all facet of our development in the country. And we have been doing this diligently, even with all the constraints. We are always surmounting them to make sure that we produce data that is required for the country. Data collection and analysis in any part of the world is very, very resource intensive. More so in our own environment here in Nigeria, where interconnectivity of ministry, department and agencies are not there. And there is also relatively poor and economic structure that can support our work. And we also know that the large part of our economy is informal. So where you have informal sector driving the economy, you know that it's always difficult to get accurate data from informal sector of the economy. If it's formal, they keep record. But informal sector, they don't usually keep record. So we have to go extra length, make extra effort for us to be able to get data from this sector of the economy. Notwithstanding all this, NBS, with the support and commitment of this committee, and indeed the commitment and support of our own Honourable Minister for Budget and Economic Planning, His Excellency Senator Atiku Bagudu, we have continued to work tirelessly to ensure that we meet up with the mandate and functions of our office. To this end, Mr. Chairman, distinguished members, my briefing this afternoon will be on the performance of the economy in the last few quarters, especially last year. Based on the economy indices stipulated in your request, there are some specific areas that you want us to talk about. In addition to what you have listed, there are some indicators, as you also said, Mr. Chairman, in your opening remarks, that we may like the House to also hear about. So the purpose of this is to paint a holistic picture for all members of this committee on where we are, what we are doing and where the economy is. Let me start to talk about one of the most popular indicators that we produce for the country, which is the Consumer Price Index, where we get our inflation figure that we produce every month. Consumer Price Index is an index that provides a general measure of changes in the average prices of goods and services that we usually consume in the country. We always compare the price of a particular period to the base period so that we can see how prices are moving, whether it's going up, whether it's coming down, and to inform government on policy, like Mr. Chairman is rightly talking about MDC meeting by CBN. They use this data to determine the interest rate that is being used at the financial sector. So this is where the popular headline inflation rate is derived by comparing the change in the CPI between two periods. As you are aware, sir, NBS recently released the new series of the CPI following the rebasing exercise. You also talk about rebasing exercise. We have rebasing exercise for two of our indicators. We rebase our CPI and we also rebase our GDP. The CPI rebasing has been concluded and we have started rolling out figure based on that rebasing, which resulted in a headline inflation rate of 24.48% in January 2025, 23.18% in February 2025, and 24.23% in March 2025. So with the new rebasing, we have released 3 months figure based on that series, the January, February, March. And as we talk today, tomorrow we look forward to release the one for April 2025. Specifically, when we talk about rebasing entails bringing the weight and price reference period. That's what we call weight reference period and price reference period. These are two measures in the CPI that give us the inflation rate. So when we talk about the rebasing, is to bring this weight reference period and price reference period closer to the recent period that we are in, so that the comparison of prices that we'll be doing either month on month or year on year will be comparing what is relative closer to each period rather than comparing price of 2025 with 2009. With the rebasing, we'll be comparing price that we are taking in 2025 with 2024, which is just last year. So this is what we mean whenever we are talking about rebasing, is to bring the base year period closer to the current period, so that when we are making comparison, we are comparing what is actually happening within the economy.